Hi there, this is Angela doing revision for paper 1, non-calculated paper. So these are the first few questions you'll find on the first few pages of an exam paper, GCSE's foundation. So here we go, we're going to work out a simplifying of this term here. So it's multiplying, so we're going to collect together things that we can multiply. So you see here we've got an 8 and we've got a 7. So we can multiply those together, which would give us 56. And then we've got a T and a Q. Now we can't put them together with a power, but we can just write them next to it, Q, T. So that's it in alphabetical order. You could have T, Q either way. Next type of question is rounding to 3 decimal places. So we're going to cut it off and we're going to decide whether we're going to round it up or leave it as 2.375, or as I said, round it up to 2.376. So you can see this 2 here. This will affect whether we round up or leave it alone. And because this number here, this 2, is 4 or less, it will leave it as 2.375 to 3 decimal places. Okay, this one here, work this out. So you're doing 2 times 2 times 2 because you've got this power here of 3. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4, and then 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, this one here, now there's several ways of doing it. I find the easiest way of doing it and most understanding way of doing it is to turn this into a decimal and then work with that. So here we have 3.5, that is 3.5 as a decimal. So to find x, I am going to multiply by 5, because what you do to x is x divided by 5 gives you 3.5. So to undo it, we're going to multiply. So to find x, we're going to do 3.5 times 5, which gives us 17.5 as an answer. Okay, great. Okay then, right. So moving on to the next lot of questions. So question 5, write this fraction 3/5 as a percentage. Now you may already know that 1/5 is 0.2 and then you times that by 3, but if you don't and you're a bit stuck, what we're going to do here is we're going to divide using bus stop method. So we're going to say how many 5s go into 3, and we know we're going to end up with a decimal, so I'll put my decimal down and my 0. So 5s into 30, well, there's not enough, so it's 0 point, and then we carry the 3 to make 30. So how many 5s go into 3? That is 6. So we get 0.6 as our answer. So to turn it into percentage, times by 100, which is moving up 2 places, so you end up with 60%. Okay. Here we have working out 70% of 50. So 10% of anything you divide by 10. So 10% of 50 is 5. So 70% is going to be 7 lots of 5, which is 35. Okay. Right, on a dice, what is the probability of getting a 4? Well, how many 4s are on a dice? There's 1, so that's the top of the fraction out of 6 possible numbers on a dice. An even number, so even numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and so on. The only even numbers on a dice are 2, 4 and 6. So that's 3 numbers out of 6, which can cancel down to a half. I divide by 3, yeah? How many 3s in 3? 1. How many 3s in 6? 2. Okay, a number greater than 7. Well, there are no numbers 7 or greater, so the probability of that is impossible, which is 0. Okay, good. Right, moving on to the more difficult questions, which are worth more marks here. Right, Jabil goes into a shop and buys 6 pens at 52p each, 3 pencils at 45p each, and 4 rulers, but we don't know the cost. Jabil pays with the £10 note and gets 53p change. How much are the rulers? Okay, so first of all, you've got to do 6 times 52p. So there's many different ways to do that. You could do 6 times 50 and then 6 times 2, or you could use your own grid method or whatever. Okay, so if I do this one here, I end up with £3.12p. Okay. Then I've got 3 lots of 45p, which leaves me with 135. Okay. Now that's all I know so far. So I do know I pay with a £10 note. So I want to work out how much money I have left after taking away the pens and the pencils. So I'm going to add those together, which gives me £4.47. And then I'm going to take that away from £10. Okay. So remember all your borrowing and things like that. Okay. So you end up with £5.53. So we now know that I had £5.53 left, and some of that has got to be changed. Okay, so 53p if it is changed. So I know that what's left over, the £5.33, I need to take off the 53p, which leaves me with £5. So £5 was spent on rulers. Yeah. So now I'm going to do £5 divided by 4. So you can use your bus stop like we did before, and you end up with each ruler is 125. Yeah. Okay, so please try and do that. Yeah. Using the bus stop method to check it. Okay, question 8. We now have to multiply these fractions together. So when you're multiplying fractions, it's the easiest thing to do. You multiply the tops, which in this case is 6, and multiply the bottoms, which in this case is 20. And then like we did with the other fraction, you must cancel them down. So 6 and 20 are both in the 3 times table. So divide 6 by 3, you get 2. Divide 20, sorry, let's go back, I made a mistake there. What was my mistake? 3 doesn't go into 20, so it goes into 21, doesn't go, so the only thing that goes into this is 2. Okay, so we're going to half them, so I end up with 3 over 10. Okay, now 3 and 10 are not in any times table, so I can't divide that any further, so 3 over 10. Right, this one here is a bit more difficult. You've got to make the bottoms the same, yeah? So 8 and 3, if you multiply those together, both go into 24. So I'm going to multiply this by 3, and the top by 3, and this by 8, and this by 8. And then I will find the equivalent fractions with the same denominator. So 7 over 8, if I multiply the top by 3, I end up with 21 over 24, minus the second fraction. So I'm multiplying the top by 8, I get 8, and I multiply the bottom by 8, I get 24. So now we have common denominators. We can now take away the tops. So 21 minus the 8 is 13 out 24. That's your final answer. Okay then, right, so these are worth more marks because you have to do a bit more work. So here we go. So we're going to now do these more complex questions. I'm going to need more room. Okay, so Susan gets paid a normal rate of £15 an hour. So every hour she works, she gets £15. When she works more than 10 hours, she gets overtime. Overtime is paid at 1.5 times her normal rate of pay. On Monday, she works 12 hours. How much does she earn? So here we go. So we know that the first 10 hours of the 12 hours here, yeah, is at normal rate. So we know that that is 10 times £15, which gives us, for the first 10 hours, £150. Now for the remaining 2 hours, she gets 1.5 times her normal rate. So that means £15 plus half her rate. Okay, £15 plus half her rate. So that's 15 plus half of 15, which is £7.50, which gives her £22.50 per hour. Okay, for overtime. So now we're going to do £22.50 times 2, because she's got 2 extra hours over the 10 hours. So that gives us, when you multiply this, get £45. So in total, she gets 150 plus £45, which gives us £195 in total that she's paid, including her extra time. Okay, final question. A grower has 25 boxes of apples. 5 apples in each box. I missed that word box, but in each box. Write the ratio, so that means it's going to be ... of the number of 3 boxes to the total number of apples. Okay, so 3 boxes would be 3 times 5, which is 15. And then the total number of apples would be 25 times 5, okay, which is 125 apples. Like with the fractions, you can cancel down by dividing both sides by, in this case, 5. So if I divide 15 by 5, I end up with 3. And if I divide 125 by 5, I end up with 25. And that is it, simplified as it's asked here. Hopefully that was helpful. Yeah, any questions, just send me. Okay, bye.